I've been accused of having autism. I like flags so much. I'm looking forward to being the Doctor of Love today.
Yeah, you are a resident love doctor. Number one, golden piece of relationship advice.
You're either shagging on the first date or you're not. I've dated 4 girls that have moved to other countries.
What's the most ridiculous thing that's ever happened to you?
I went on a Tinder date and I turned up and it was 7 people. My audience tends to be like me, but like no talent.
If you were arrested with no explanation, what do you think your friends thought you've done?
Fraud.
Have you ever been intrigued by heroin?
Try everything once. You never know, you might like it.
What were you like at school?
You guys would have hated me at school, man. I actually quit playing video games because I wanted to get into Oxford Uni. Every TikToker I've ever met doesn't really want to be one.
One behavioural trait that would be an immediate red flag for you.
Number 1 has mental health issues. But yeah, I love lying. It's a freeing thing.
Where's the roguest place you've ever been recognised?
In the sauna, in the gym, in a hotel, in Amsterdam. Are you a student loan? Because I'd like to take you out with no intention of paying.
Hello and welcome to the Behind the Screens podcast with me, Curtis.
And me, James. And we are here with Rufus Rice. Rufus, welcome to the show.
Absolute pleasure to be here. This was, you know, this was in the calendar. This is a social event for the year. You know what I mean? It's like if you're one of those billionaires. Monaco Grand Prix, Milan Fashion Week,
Behind
the Screens podcast.
Yeah. What do you mean if we were one of those billionaires?
Well, yeah. Well, I think if you were, you probably wouldn't be doing this. But
Just do it for the love of it.
We do it for the love of podcast.
right, okay,
We
yeah,
love
yeah,
going behind the screens.
So I hadn't actually seen your content until I knew you were coming on the show.
Okay.
And I started watching it.
Are you offended by that, by the way?
Of course you're not.
Imagine if people did get offended that
Yeah.
people didn't watch your TikToks.
But
That would be unfair, I
I
think.
started watching the other day, and honestly, like, I've never laughed out loud so much at someone's content before.
Oh, thank you. That's very
So-
kind. Yeah.
For people that don't follow you like me, that
Yeah.
are watching this, just tell us a bit more about your channel, what you do.
Yeah, so I
What you
make
got
a
to?
veritable smorgasbord of content. I started out with, as we all do, I think, with one idea and then rinsed it to oblivion until it wasn't really funny anymore. So I had this sort of shagger character, a little bit like Jay from The In-Betweeners if he went to private school.
Yep.
And so I would always go like, hello shaggers, and I came up with loads of sort of pun names for various things, you know, like, hello shaggers, today I'm Machine Cum Kelly, or a recent one is like Lawrence of the Labia.
So good.
So I would do stuff like that. So I basically made hundreds of videos like that. That's really how I grew the name. But then I was like, oh, this joke's kind of old now. And I don't want to be one of those people. It's like those bands with one hit song and you see them 20 years later and they're basically like a tribute act to themselves. I didn't really want to do like that. So I diversified. I invented some quite revolutionary TikTok formats, you know, like top 5, for example. That had never been done before, and since I started doing it 2 years ago. That's where you rank 5 things.
I like the one,
The best 5, right?
the one
the
you
best.
posted on Instagram the other day. Pegging, number 1. That was a good one.
Top 5 underrated
Yeah.
activities. Yeah.
Arson, that was a good one. I like that.
So I started doing that. I created a TikTok game called Flag Game, where basically you come up with some different categories, you know, like obesity rate, infrastructure, all sort of things, and you get random countries, and you've got to like make the best country. Started churning out videos like that. That also, basically, when TikTok updated the algorithm, overnight I was able to go full time because suddenly they started paying you 10 times more. So now I still just rinse those and post 4 videos a day and dash those off. Then I expanded out. I started got my own podcast, which is a sort of satirical, but it's a news podcast, sort of. But the kind of news we cover is like there was a guy from the Dominican Republic the other day who tried to smuggle monkey skeletons into Boston Airport. And we were laughing about it because it was the same airport where the 9/11 plane took off.
Right.
So they let those bombs through, but not the monkeys. is what I'm trying to
Improved security, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
Lessons learned.
it's good. It shows progress. But yeah, he was trying to smuggle some voodoo shit in. I don't know, some skeletons and stuff. So that's the sort of thing we talk about. And then I also recently launched a YouTube channel. So where I go exploring various places. I love and explore. I'm like Dora the Explorer. So I was in Chamonix with some Swedish people a couple of weeks ago, and then I just went to Egypt recently. So that's the next video. You guys can keep your eyes peeled for that one. So yeah, that's sort of what I do.
Yeah.
And I also do comedy music as well. I've made a lot of parody songs over the years. a thing about TikTok is every TikToker I've ever met doesn't really want to be one. Like ultimately, they do TikTok as a sort of, you fall into it. I absolutely despised it for years until it became my job.
Until the money was there.
Until the money was there. I still generally would not post on social media anyway. I don't post personal stuff really. But everyone wants to be a film director or a businessman, or if you're me, a rock star really. I went to music college and I was like, well, I'm going to be the next big thing. But it turns out that putting your music out when you have no sort of profile is like, and I hate to use this phrase, throwing a hot dog down a hallway, as in it's really not going to make contact with anything. So yeah, didn't do that, but I've sort of used my platform cynically as a way of introducing my own musical abilities to the world, because I want to be a rock star really.
Nice.
Love it. I feel like an unbelievably comprehensive introduction, better than most. And the use of smorgasbord, always appreciated. So,
Thank you.
Yeah.
You mentioned your YouTube channel there.
Yeah.
How was the ski trip? Did you conquer any of the snow bunnies?
Have to say, even A game, even top British chat doesn't connect particularly well with Scandinavians, just because they're different to us. Like, you can't really just sort of go, well, you look absolutely stunning tonight, can I buy you a drink, and you're in. That's not how it works, because they want you to like
Work for it.
they want you to act like you don't care, but also be really interested at the same time, which doesn't seem possible and isn't. So no is the answer.
Well, I feel like that brings us on nicely to the fact that this is the Valentine's special. We've brought out the rose petals.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to being the Doctor of Love today.
Yeah, you are a resident love doctor, which is something I'm sure you've always wanted to be. And
I am a relationship expert.
you spent a lot of time practicing.
I've dated 4 girls that have moved to other countries.
Excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to the advice section. So we've got some fantastic questions lined up. But yeah, I don't know if you want to kick off with something a little bit more rogue rather than the love route.
What's the weirdest thing you've Googled this week?
Oh, okay, yeah. I had to Google how much weight a Mercedes taxi can support before it punctures a tire, because there was a lawsuit that happened in America. This is a news story we covered on the podcast, where this woman got refused entry into an Uber because she was so overweight. She's 250 kilograms, which is 3.2 times me. So we were laughing we were laughing about, would you rather get hit by a ton of bricks, a ton of feathers, or 4 of this woman? Yeah. I had to Google whether there was any sort of legal basis for that, because he was like, no, you can't come in, you're going to burst my tires. The driver.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
What was the conclusion?
I don't think so, but would you want to risk it?
Yeah, I'm not so sure. So let's go to love.
Okay.
Relationships. Now, we had a little chat pre-recording. You were talking about Valentine's.
Yeah.
Getting prepared for this year.
Right.
Want to know, what is your number one golden piece of relationship advice that you would give?
Okay. I want to just put my credentials out there before we start. The last relationship I had was at school, and it lasted maybe 6 months, and then she moved to Australia.
What did she teach?
Sorry? What did she teach?
Yeah.
She taught... she didn't... it's hard. It was hard for her being a teacher and a student at the same time, but I wish it was the history teacher.
Shout out.
No.
So history.
So yeah, it was at school. So I am a relationship expert. I haven't had one since becoming a man. But my number one piece of relationship advice would be, don't you know?
It's really concise, this one.
Yes, those. I've never understood those sort of 3-date rule, 5-date rule, 5-date rule sort of thing. Like, I think if she comes at you with the rules from straight away, you just got to leave it there, because, like, you're either shagging on the first date or you're not, depending on how the vibes are, right? And I think if the vibes are good, you might as well see if you're sexually compatible out the gate,
right?
Because what you don't want is build up a fantastic sort of connection and rapport, and then
waste each other's time.
waste each other's time. So my important advice would be, I think it's important to shag on the first date, or don't go near anyone at all. I think I've given some good reasons.
No, but that's great. It's good to know.
I was going to say, is the person we see in the videos the real you? But I think it obviously is.
Yeah, I think it's, I think it wasn't originally, but over time, so you become, the country air becomes you.
Yeah.
You turn into that character for better or for worse. And it was certainly based on me originally.
What were you like at school?
Well, you guys would have hated me at school, man. Because before I became a TikToker, I wanted to be an investment banker. As you can see, I've dressed as one today.
To be fair,
both of us have.
I've retired the quarter zip for a change. I thought, try and.
It would be weird if we were all wearing them.
Well, we have had this before, where all three of us were wearing
the same outfit,
shirt, white tee.
So I was a child. I actually quit playing video games so I could for the grind, because I wanted to get into Oxford Uni and then become an investment banker, because I think, like most blokes, I watched The Wolf of Wall Street when I was 13 and it just changed my life. And then I was like, well, that's going to be me. I want to eat sushi off Margot Robbie at some point.
How was it?
Well, still waiting on that, still loading. But yeah, get a bit of wasabi in the belly button and everything. But yeah, so I wanted to be that guy. I was absolutely grinding. I was reading Financial Times every morning. I was listening to Bloomberg podcasts. So I was a sweaty nerd. I was not a likable character at all. And then I didn't get into Oxford, so I became a TikToker.
Why didn't you get in?
I didn't do well enough on the entrance exam.
It's too busy watching Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, exactly.
Back to the relationships.
Right.
Flags. You're a man who loves flags.
I
Interesting.
love flags. I've been accused of having autism. I like flags so much.
Do you know that game called the flag game? You know all of them.
Yeah, I know all of them.
Yeah. So let's not get to the country flags.
Okay.
We're talking red flags, green flags.
My favourite.
What is the one behavioural trait that would be an immediate red flag for you in a partner?
Oh, okay. I actually I have a list of them in my phone.
Top 5.
It's not a top 5. It's just a sort of.
Can we make it a top 5 for the SEO?
Unordered list. Yeah, I could do top 5 red flags. We could do that.
Fantastic.
I have actually made that.
Thinking, Curtis.
Hang on. Let me just find it in my notes. So here we go. Yeah. I think number 5, an obsession with Taylor Swift is a real red flag. And it's not really about Taylor Swift. It's about the obsession part of it. Because those Taylor Swift girls are the prime example, because they're so committed. I'm absolutely certain that they would skip our wedding day to go and see her play. Yeah. If you know what I mean? Like, I don't think anything I ever do, anything we ever go through, will ever make you love me as much as you love Taylor Swift already. Yeah.
And if anyone has any doubts, just look at the comments of this video right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Following that statement. And that
number 4 red flag, keeping a phone at full brightness at all times. That's insane.
Yeah.
You know, like you're in bed, she opens her phone, it's like the light of the world is coming out. It's like you're looking straight into the sun. Number 3 red flag. When she doesn't know what the Schengen area is. That's just a general bellwether of intelligence, I think. But, I like to... That's one of my alternative first date questions.
Okay.
Once we get into the Schengen area chat. Number 2, believes in astrology or crystals.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that stuff is mental. I have had that occasionally when I've said something and she was like, oh, what star sign are you? And I go, oh. And I had a girl, she guessed all the other 11 before she got it. Which, like, even just on pure probability is pretty unlikely. Yeah. But then I said something and she's like, oh, that makes sense. And it's like, what are you on about?
It's mad. I'm just thinking of like my missus mates when you're saying these
things.
Yeah. Which ones would you
like? Oh, of course you would say that. You're an Aries, and it's number 1 has mental health issues that constitute
That's a green flag for me.
Constitute her whole personality.
What? So you like that?
Well,
they're easy to break down.
Yeah, it could be interesting. Keep you on your toes.
Fair enough.
Anyway,
are you happy with that?
Fantastic. You ticked all the boxes there, so yeah, great.
Brilliant.
Should we stick on flags? Because I do actually have a couple flag-related questions. unbelievably didn't think I'd ever say that on a podcast.
Right.
If you had to pick a nation's flag to be your bedspread for the rest of your life,
Oh, I like this one.
Yeah.
what flag would it be and why?
A nation flag.
Yeah.
Okay.
No coats of arms, I think. Yeah, I want...
I'm going to pick Mozambique.
We're up. We should bring it up.
Have a look at the Mozambique flag.
Yeah.
It's one of the greatest.
Yeah.
There are three certainties in life: death, taxes, and if something's got an AK-47 on it, it's pretty cool. And that is the only country flag with an AK-47 on it.
Fantastic.
It's got a hoe as well. So farming and guns is really what they're about in Mozambique.
It's a decent bedspread, that, isn't it?
I just think it's a sick flag.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to sleep though. I'd just be admiring it.
What country's got the worst flag?
The old Libya flag. Do you remember when it was just green?
No.
It was literally just green. In 2011, after the Arab Spring, the uprisings, they changed it. But before that, it was just a green rectangle. Yeah, Nepal's an ugly flag just because it's the wrong shape.
Nepalling.
Yep, nice. And also Colombia is ugly.
Is that because the uneven?
What are they doing? Just even those out, and it'll be perfectly fine.
I feel like my flag knowledge needs to...
Yeah, you've got to work on your flag game. FIFA sorted me out with the majority of flags.
You got to work on your spelling.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I
thought it was that, but I didn't know it was like...
Why is the yellow bar so much bigger than the other? I'm sure this doesn't annoy anyone nearly as much as it annoys me. But look, it's so wonky.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of character though, no?
I don't know. It would have been perfect with just the 3 even bars. Sorry, you can see how the autism allegations are coming in. But yeah.
Yeah, I think they're unfounded. One final flag question.
Right.
We have green flags. We don't have green flags. We have red flags. We have green flags, white flags in our daily vocab.
Yeah.
What flag do we need to add to our vocabulary?
Oh, that's a good question, isn't it?
And why?
Well,
if something's a bit wonky, do we call it, the Columbia flag? Or
I think implementing like Formula One flags into daily life is really good.
yeah,
Like when you've reached the end of the line with something, the checkered flag is an awesome one. But also when something needs to end, like beyond a red flag, the red flags are the warning signs. But the death note, you have to have the black flag, which means come into the pits. And also the black flag with the orange circle on it, the danger flag. Yeah, that's like it's like a red flag, but it's also quite a little bit exciting.
Oh, yeah.
If you know what I mean. Like someone's a clear red flag, but there's a little hint of something quite nice about that.
I refer you back to the previous conversation around mental health. There's some
Well, those girls with sort of like they got some problems, but it sort of helps.
excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Orange flag.
That's me done for the flag chat.
Okay, brilliant.
I'll let you get involved now.
So you're going to be Curtis's best man at his wedding.
Okay, that's news to me, but thanks. That's I'm honoured.
I also didn't know I was getting married.
You are now. I want to know what you're going to plan for his stag do, based on what you know about him for the last 10 minutes.
Ooh, okay, right.
This is a fantastic question.
This is going to be an alternative stag.
Great.
Right. What we're going to do, we're going to go to the foothills of the Himalayas in Nepal.
Yep.
And we're going to spend a week in a monastery.
Designing the new flag.
We're going to shave your head.
No, I had a buzz cut this year. Last year.
You're going to get in those robes, and we're going to make you do a whole week of silence, meditation, and fasting. And in the meantime, we're going to absolutely party it up in the town, and you're going to have to sit there doing all the Buddhist stuff for a week.
do I get like a checkered flag at the end, and I get to have one evening of fun?
No, then we go home. They have a vegetarian diet, those monks as well. So it's just going to be sort of, mate, you'll look fantastic, but it's going to be, you're going to be hungry.
I don't want to look fantastic. I want to drink beer and have fun.
Have you been anyone's best man yet?
No, I'm 22, mate.
You never know. Might have some older friends. Do you reckon your mates would be scared to have you as a best man?
No, I don't think so.
Well, I would, based on what you've got planned for me.
Oh, no, the thing is like I do some sort of slightly edgy stuff on my page, but when you come into an environment, I can make it appropriate. It's all right. If the grandparents are going to be there, I can,
Am I having to fly Nan and Granddad out to Nepal as well?
Oh, if they want to come, I don't think Nan's going to be allowed in the compound. I think it's men only. But your granddad would love it.
What's the most ridiculous thing that's ever happened to you based on you growing a following on TikTok?
Been invited on this podcast?
Okay, yeah. I went on a Tinder date with this girl, and I turned up, and it was 7 people who just all wanted to meet me.
Wow.
Right. She was one of them, but
Yeah.
that's not what I was expecting. Right. But I was in Canada. This was in Canada, and basically, I was gonna just turn around and leave because that's pretty, like, all jokes aside, that's a pretty terrible
weird,
thing to
yeah.
do to someone.
Yeah.
It's pretty grim. But
Makes for a good story on a podcast.
Was it 7 girls or was it?
it was just 7 friends, like mixed group of people. But then I could see they were feeling a bit bad. Canadians are quite polite. So they bought me a load of drinks and stuff. And we played music bingo, but it was all Canadian music, so I didn't know any of it. So I stayed for 3 hours. I have no idea why. I still massively regret it, wasting my time.
That is a bit of a just thrown in the deep end, isn't it? Like turn up and there's 7 people there. It's mad. And what's like the biggest misconception people have about you based on your content?
Ooh. Here's the thing. I think I'm a pretty honest guy. I think I come across exactly how it is, but I have met people in real life who have been disappointed because they think that they think that there's no character at all, and they're like, oh, Rufus. And my audience tends to be like me, but like no talent. So like like they're quite gobby and egotistical, but like really quite annoying.
Loyal, though.
Loyal, yeah. You know how people always say, "Oh, I've got the best fans, best audience." I don't. Like, because I know some other people, especially people with like a big female audience. I only have about 15% female, which honestly is surprisingly high.
It's more than I had with the
Okay.
FIFA channel. So.
Right.
You got 0.1%.
yeah,
wrong.
Like,
negative.
if you've got a female audience, they get behind you in a way that guys are like, if you post one thing that's slightly less funny than the one before, they're like, well, that shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas girls are like, oh, I love you so much. And
be going
they
through
also buy
something.
stuff as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've definitely had guys who have met me and then he's like, oh, he's not a legend in real life. I'm so disappointed. Like, as a rule, I don't accept drinks from random people who've bought them for me. It's like, mate, you're not even a legend. You're not even going to chop it for me right here.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Excellent.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So you mentioned your fans are the worst in the world. Like,
They're not the worst. Like, I'm
No,
sure.
we have the soundbite.
if you could like just describe the typical person that follows you, what would they be?
Okay, right.
What do they do? What's their job?
Think about someone who's privately educated and has a centre parting and wears quarter zips, right?
Looking at
So,
him.
yeah. So yeah, pretty
But with
similar.
no talent.
Pretty similar to me, really. And they probably work at their dad's company. It's probably the standard job. It's quite a concentrated demographic. Like, you go to any sort of uni town, it's like Kanye's there. And then outside of that, I'm just anonymous.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever heard of me. Yeah. It's quite good. In Brighton, where I live, it's kind of an alternative crowd. Not really Rufus Rice fans. So I'm absolutely fine there. I'll never get spotted. But you go to, like, Oxford or Gloucester.
Big name in Gloucester.
Big name in Gloucester.
That's got to be the new bio.
I meant Worcester, actually, but yeah.
Well, what's your most unpopular opinion? Like, what would that be? But you got to sell it like your life depends on it.
Well, like, okay, this isn't going to be like something very controversial because I don't really have strong views like that. The most hate I've ever gotten for something was like I revealed my meal deal, and then people got really angry about that. I've never had any controversy. Nothing I've ever said has ever, like, there's never been sort of drama or anything about it. But the most hate I got was saying Australians were going to lose the cricket, and then all these Australians were in my DMs threatening to kill me. And then I said that the best meal deal you can buy is a rainbow salmon poke bowl, pineapple junks, and a sparkling water, and everyone really hated that.
It does kind of take the spirit out of the meal deal, but it's a good choice.
Well, yeah, I can tell you don't mean that, but thank you.
I love a Pokeball. The value for money as well. You're getting your money's worth.
Well, it's the £5 meal deal as well, which people hate. Yeah.
If you were arrested with no explanation, what do you think your friends would thought you've done?
Fraud. Probably. I think like that. I don't do it, but I think that's the thing I'm at most risk of committing, falling into is some kind of white collar tax avoidance. Jimmy Carr sort of business.
Nice.
What would be the book of your life? What would the title be? Appreciate it's quite early to be doing the book of your life.
Yeah. What's that one? Like Eat, Pray, Love. You know that book? Mine would be like, I don't know, Eat, Drink, Shag, but that's a shit answer. I'm sorry, that's rubbish.
Eat, drink,
it would be
shag.
3 verbs that I can't quite think of in an order.
Okay, well, I'm going to keep you creative. Roses are red, violets are blue. My name is Rufus.
What? Wow. You have left me with very little room to move there.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say roses are red, violets are blue. I thought you were going to leave it there, but you actually gave me another line. But
Yeah,
I'm going to take that one off and just use the first 2.
The look on your face then was genuinely
Well, I thought you were going to say
fantastic.
roses are red, violets are blue. I've got the clap, and now so do you, is what I was going to say. But there you go.
What would you end it with?
Well, it wouldn't have my name is Rufus.
That would be weird.
Beforehand. I didn't think about that. Roses are red, violets are blue.
My name's Rufus. Done. There you go.
Mine is Rufus. How about you?
Interesting.
I've used that line before.
How did it go?
No, I haven't. My favourite line, because I actually came up with this one, I think. I've never seen any evidence before, but I like, are you a student loan? Because I'd like to take you out with no intention of paying.
Oh, there's got to be something to do with the interest as well, surely.
Yeah, don't know, mate.
No, got no
I think once you get into the sort of interest rate chat, they sort of switch off.
no interest. Yeah.
Good.
Go on then.
Weirdest conspiracy theory that you secretly think is true, or openly?
Okay, yeah, I think a lot of them could be true, but the thing I get hung up on is like, who cares? Do you know what I mean? It's like those sort of the Illuminati existing, right? Even if it does, it makes no difference to my life. If it does or doesn't exist.
I don't know. You're becoming a public figure. This sort of time could make a big.
Maybe you're gonna get sucked in.
People, those scammers, like often hit me up, being like, "There's a few different scams they do, but one of them, the Illuminati messages. Once you reach a certain level, I get loads of people trying to scam me for money by joining the Illuminati and stuff.
Mate. I'd take that seriously.
Yeah. Or what do I think is true? I'm not really. But like if they fake the moon landing, which I don't think they did, like who cares?
I think they did.
Do you?
Okay, that was going to be my next
Just
question.
the way he
as well.
bounces around, it doesn't seem normal.
But think how many people would have to keep that a secret. Like there'd be hundreds of people involved in that production, but also everybody at NASA. Like everybody who ever worked for the company of NASA in the 1960s would have to keep that a secret. The entire US government. There's no way like one person wouldn't have been like, well, look.
As soon as it gets out, you know.
Oh, you think? Right.
Are there any others that you quite like?
I think
Yeah, I think
inside
that-
jobs.
Or well, yeah. I
But
guess
even if it is, like, who cares?
I think I quite like the idea of it being an inside job.
You know what, 9/11 and stuff.
Yeah.
But like even if it is, like, so it doesn't really matter.
No.
fair enough.
What about you?
Yeah, I mean jet fuel can't melt steel beams, right? So
Nah, but it can weaken them to an extent to collapse a whole building.
I thought you weren't interested.
I've watched
I'll
those
sucker
I've
you
watched
in.
those documentaries, mate.
Speed dating.
Okay.
If you were speed dating, who are the 5 people, dead or alive,
Okay.
that you would love to sit opposite?
Okay. Probably.
Top 5.
Okay. Grace Kelly from Rear Window, 1954. I don't know if you guys have seen that film, but she's one of the all-time greats. She married the Prince of Monaco after that. She used to be an actress.
Is that the wrong one?
What was the
That's
film
a
called? Sorry,
Rear Window.
Really need to bring my glasses for things like this. Okay, next one.
Probably prime like 2013 to 2016 Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
You know where she won 3 Ballon d'Ors in a row. And then, who else is up there? Like
Anyone for their chat?
anyone? What
For their chat?
for their chat? No.
No.
Nah.
Sure.
I mean, I think if we're speed dating, we don't really have time to do personality. It's just more for an anecdote, really. Like, that's a great one down the pub. I went on a date with Margot Robbie. So prime Margot Robbie. We've got 1954 Grace Kelly. And then I'd have to say current Dua Lipa.
Right. As opposed to
And then
what other version?
probably like the Queen and Eve from the Bible.
From the Bible.
I don't really know what she looks like, but like, if I swipe the only woman on earth, that's got to be a flex, right? Yeah.
And that would again be a fantastic anecdote. What would you chat about?
Adam would be fuming. I guess we'd have one of those like Love Island style picnic dates in the Garden of Eden.
Yes.
Have half an apple each.
Yeah. I'm liking the sound of that.
Brilliant.
Shall we get to the interactive section?
Let's do it. So we really
Actually, one more question. Who's the most followed Rufus on social media?
Oh, my original goal, it's me now. But originally there was this bloody dog called Rufus. Someone had a TikTok account with like Rufus the dog or something. And this thing haunted my dreams for a while, but then I passed him. He only had about 100K. But now it is. Fortunately, me. I'm the number one. Rufus is a good boy. No, hang on.
I think
He's got more followers than me.
1.3.
Yeah, he's gained followers since the last time I checked.
I'm going to give him one. I'm not logged in.
Yeah. So this bloody chihuahua.
You know when you were saying about drop kicking dogs before?
Sorry, I missed that conversation.
This is one, I think.
Yeah. So so this bloody dog is always doing it for me. I'm not even sure it's one dog. It might just be random animal videos because that's clearly a squirrel.
That's how they're gaining followers.
But yeah,
that's how they've done you.
That guy has absolutely done me there. I've been mugged off by Rufus. Good boy.
I love the idea of there just.
We haven't even seen the dog yet. It's just
no. I don't know if
videos.
Rufus exists.
That's exactly how they've.
Wow, I don't know.
Okay. Anyway,
we've got some more relationship and Valentine's related content. We've taken to the internet and we found some people that are in desperate need of relationship help. So this one comes from user Throwaway.
You gonna read the whole thing?
No. We're just gonna give you the précis. So, how do I, 20 male, tell my partner, 20 female, that the brain rot content she's consuming is making her less attractive? So just all the tripe on TikTok.
Right.
He wants to call off the wedding.
Wait, actually.
Yeah.
wow.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. I'm a very direct guy, so I would do what I think when my parents found me watching like bikini videos on YouTube when I was like 13. We sat down and we had a very serious chat about it. And, my mum's going all this sort of stuff like, well, it will give you a bad, image of women. You could do that, or you could do what I do, which is invent a fictitious illness, absolutely convince her that it's true, using a months-long course of gaslighting and saying that it's contributing to these debilitating symptoms that you will inevitably experience in later life. Maybe get a fraudulent medical professional to back it up and convince her that she's, becoming a sort of, not kleptomaniac, that's where you steal stuff.
Yeah.
What is it? Hypochondriac is the word I'm looking for. Make her believe that she's getting all these illnesses, and then hopefully she'll sort of switch off and it feels like it's free will. Yeah.
Fantastic. Next one. This is a 19-year-old who needs your help today. So she changed her profile picture, and the boyfriend has gone mad. He is upset because changed from a picture of the pair of them to just a picture of her.
Right. Okay.
What should she do about this situation?
So the boyfriend's pissed off that she's changed the picture.
Just change it back. I mean,
Do you think Ben
pick your battles, mate? Like, who cares? It's a profile picture. People are hungry out there, you know.
So
like, this really doesn't matter.
Whose side are you on here? So
I think I would say I'm not on anyone's side because I don't care. But for the sake of relationship harmony, just change it back. Who cares?
Okay, interesting. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? I feel like, bending.
What picture?
Well, I haven't seen the pictures.
Bending,
like bending to their will, doing as you're told.
If it's something that actually matters, I understand standing your ground. But this one is so inconsequential that like just change it back.
Okay, 22-year-old male. How do I tell my girlfriend of 4 years that I've cheated on her?
You don't.
Yeah, take it to the grave is one, but you have to live with yourself for doing that. I would say change your name, move to Thailand, start a completely new life, cut yourself off from the society, the circles that you used to run in. The Gary Glitter technique, of course, minus the inappropriate activities. And maybe he could go to that Nepali monastery we were talking about.
Come on your stag.
Become a Buddhist.
Everyone's welcome.
And sort of, really just experience life. One, don't tell her where you're going, obviously. And it will be a massive story back home in the newspapers of a disappearing boy. Yeah. But you'll have a great time.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I just wouldn't tell him.
Interesting.
I'm also not telling her, but I'm doing the rest of it as well.
Right. Okay. Right. So will she ever find out, or?
No, she'll think I've disappeared.
Yeah. Right. Fantastic. Well, that's it for the relationship advice.
Well, I hope if that was you guys, I hope that was helpful.
Actually, all three were just me, and I really could do with the.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you were a 20-year-old man and a 19-year-old boy.
I am a shapeshifter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Top 3 list. Actually, I don't want to do any more lists. I feel like we've overlisted you. You're a fan of dropping unconventional game.
Yeah, I like unconventional game because I like really bad game. You know, when you get to that point in a sort of talking stage / dating situationship thing where you can just sort of like make random animal noises on voice notes and it's funny because like you know each other that well enough. I like doing that sort of thing, but it's not to people I know. Right. So like, yeah, my idea of funny game is talking to, foreign people who don't really know, but just lying to them about like what a glizzy gobbler is and stuff.
I feel like that's some of your best like pick-up advice seems to be opportunities where you can bend to the truth.
Yeah, no, I really do like lying. There's no feeling. If you feel like sort of prime Xavi and Iniesta when you lie to a girl and then your mate backs you up and he goes along with it and he's like, yeah. Like, you say, oh, well, I saved a child from drowning at a water park in Indonesia. And then your mate goes, I saw it. He was a hero. Yeah. really helped me out there. But yeah, I love lying. I think it's a freeing thing. I lied this morning at Starbucks. I always just tell them a different name just for a laugh, just for a bit of fun. And it's
what
not lying.
What did you go for today?
It's not lying. I was Tim today. You're not lying to anyone. It's not harmful. You're never going to see them again. It's just a bit of banter. Yeah.
So you're at a christening. You're sat next to a beautiful lady. I want you to drop some unconventional game.
Right. So is she about my age? So the sort of
she could be whatever.
She could be 45, divorced, but she's a MILF.
She's a MILF. Okay. That changes the things. First thing you got to do. First rule of MILF Club is
don't talk about MILF.
You've got to convince them that you think they're younger than they are. So I go like.
Lying is it?
Yeah. So the first thing you can be is what uni do you go to? I swear you go to my uni. I've seen you in the union a few times.
Has that ever worked?
And she goes, oh no, sorry, darling. She's about 48, and I think it sets it off on the right foot. It's lighthearted, it's funny, and then you can sort of take it from there. She goes, "Oh, my daughter is probably about the same age as you," and then then I go, "Well, could never tell you apart. Easy, easy."
Yeah. Fish in a barrel.
I like that one.
Okay, slightly different tone to a christening. Funeral.
Right.
What's the plan there?
My funeral.
No. Unconventional game. What's your plan
Obviously,
at funeral?
famously, one of the worst situations in which to drop game is probably funeral in a plane that's going down.
No, that's got to be easy, right?
We may as well just do it now.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I'll be screaming. And the other one is obviously the STD clinic. Those are the three worst places to drop game. At a funeral, I'm assuming I'm going up to the now widow.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, no, I like that.
Fine, yeah.
I'll probably just sidle up there and go, well, really sorry about this. I know it's been a tragic day for all of us, but you do have a free spot on the roster clearly now. Right? clearly, you've got some time freed up. And I just want to say, if you're ever feeling empty, if you're ever feeling lonely, like I could fill the hole that your husband has left behind. Anyway, would you like a drink from the wake bar
That you paid for?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Not sure about nice, actually, but
No.
respectable.
What about a job interview?
Well, like on the interviewer.
Yeah.
I'm dropping
Well, it could be
game.
like, let's say Curtis, he's the CEO, and then you've got a lovely assistant sat next, just taking notes.
Right. This is interesting because obviously I've never been in one because I've never had a proper job. And when I do have like sort of corporate interactions, I'm allowed to get away with stuff that if you're an actual employee, you would never be allowed. People would talk about like whenever. Sometimes you meet with sort of suit people to do brand stuff, and they ask you how you are, and you just go, "Oh, I'm so hungover, mate. I had a massive one last night. I'm sorry I didn't invite you, but you would have loved it." So I think in a job interview, when you're subtly trying to impress someone, your interviewer, by turning your weaknesses into strengths.
Yeah.
You're just like, well, weaknesses. Well, I just have no work-life balance. I'm just so committed to the grind. It would be like that. Like, I'd probably say to her, like, I've got to, I do have sort of money problems. I just spend, too much money on dates and flowers and presents and stuff, and I just don't know where it all goes. She'll love that sort of stuff.
Nice. I like it. One final one. Unconventional game at a protest. You can pick the protest.
Right. Well, it's not going to be one of those like social justice protests because they're just not my type. That being said, the people on the other side of those Tommy Robinson protests, not really my type either. That goes back to the sort of Taylor Swift thing. Whereas if you care that much, it's a bit of a problem.
Sure.
But we are where we are, I guess. I think they have. Well, I used to live in Singapore, and there you're not really allowed to protest. It's just illegal, and the government will just happily put everybody in prison. So I'll probably go Singaporean protest. I go up to a girl and I say, "Well, look, the police are about to lock us up for at least 10 years and maybe whip us because that's how it works. So if I'm honest, you're probably not going to see another bloke for about 15 years. So let's make it happen while we have the time. And free. I don't really know. Free speech for all or whatever we're protesting. Yeah.
I feel like you've gone for the plane crash approach there, but this time you're just not screaming. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm more chilled this time.
Like it.
So we'll move on from that section, or you've got anything else to talk
No,
about?
that's me sorted for.
I enjoyed
four really important
unconventional game as a segment. Yeah.
What were you doing before social media?
I was at uni. So I dropped out after 2 years of uni. And I started at the end of first year. So then when I came back for the summer, I already had a pretty decent following. And that was the point.
So you started your journey at the start of...
End of first year.
Yeah.
When you first said it, I thought you meant you started uni at the end of first year. I was like,
No.
lost.
That wouldn't work, would it?
Not at all.
No. So before, I went to music college to become a rock star. That was COVID as well, which is the worst time to do a music degree because you can't do any live performance, which is one of the central aspects of it. So that was terrible. I also dislocated my knee and was immobile for 3 months. So it wasn't a great year, all things considered. Then I went to to uni to study economics, and then I realized, I went and did work experience in banks and stuff, and I realized these are some of the most miserable people I've ever met. You know, like when you cut open a tree and you can see the rings for every year. It's like I can see the bags under these people's eyes for every year they've worked at this bank because they're so tired and miserable eating 3 meals at the desk every day. So I was like, that sort of shattered my Wolf of Wall Street dreams.
Right.
So I was like, I want to leave here. I want to go back to music college. But my parents were basically like, nah, which is fair enough. So then I started doing TikToks just as a sort of creative outlet. And because I thought like, well, if I get a load of followers, like then maybe some girls will come up to me instead of, because I was always quite nervous going up to, I know it seems strange, but I was always quite awkward. I think I operated permanently in the friend zone for years and years and years. So I was quite nervous about doing that sort of thing. And I thought, well, if I make TikToks, then maybe once in a blue moon,
You don't have to worry about
I don't have to do to break the ice. Yeah, it's good marketing, gets your face out there, you know, that sort of thing. Yeah. So there we go.
And is this something you see, you know, being a long-term career plans? Or is this something
people always ask me that, especially boomers who don't know how it works. But also young people. They're like, well, TikTok's not going to be around forever, you know. You're going to have to get a real job somewhere. And it's like, maybe that used to be true, but we have a lot of proof now of people who have made it a permanent job and have been doing it for 10 or 15 years. So actually, it is a permanent job. And even if it all goes to absolute shit, you know, even if it all crumbles, I don't mind just moving to the Alps and becoming a ski instructor instead and going anonymous for the rest of my life. That's fine with me. But I'd rather keep the roller coaster going if we can.
What happened if, like, you went on your phone now, your TikTok had been deleted, you had no chance of getting it back? Do you reckon you could build it all the way back up to 1.2 easily?
No probs. Yeah. I mean, I don't think TikTok followers are really real anyway. They're a lot easier to get than the other ones. But yeah, I think no matter what the medium is, no matter what the platform, if you got something that people do like, I don't think there's any sort of obstacle.
On the back of that, we're going to create a hypothetical situation. You've been banned from all socials forever, but you get one final message, a 60-second clip.
Ooh, yeah.
What would you say?
I would say, hey guys, I've just started an OnlyFans. Is that social media?
Yeah. You can't direct them anywhere else.
I can't have that. So so I have no internet presence anymore.
This will be the last anybody ever hears of you. This is your legacy.
Okay.
Your final message.
Right. All right. I'd want to throw a spanner in the works, I think. Okay. I think I want to claim responsibility for something that I definitely didn't do just to keep people on their toes.
Okay, right. We're going to end it. Go. Let's hear it.
Big sigh. Because they always do that. This is going to be difficult for me to say. You know, I've had to leave, and so it's going to be difficult. Lots of personal things going on. But before I do go, I just want to let everybody know. What's something that's sort of appropriate? My parents don't like sort of Madeline McCann jokes, so I won't make one of those. What's something that's a bit lower stakes than that?
Jay Slater.
Yeah, I was weighing that up as well, but my mum also doesn't think that's funny because anything to do with kids on holiday, she really doesn't like.
He was a grown man.
Yeah, but close enough.
Sure. He's somebody's kid.
Yeah, I'd just be like, you know, I am the Unabomber. I sent those to those politicians. That was all me. Or like, no, I am the Zodiac Killer. I wrote those notes. That was me. And goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I love that.
What do you think of the word influencer? And do you think you are an influencer?
I think I am, like, technically. A lot of people go, well, I don't want to be. I'm not an influencer. I'm an Instagram. You know, I'm a comedian or whatever. But you aren't though. But I'm an influencer just on the basis that I can exert some influence. Like if I was like a hardline political commentator, my thing would be a perfect echo chamber for my own views. But I just don't really. I just rather make fun videos than do all that. But yeah, I definitely am. I probably wouldn't describe myself as it. Just like everyone else, because they don't want to be one. But I am. Yeah.
What would you describe yourself as?
Internet personality. That if you Google me, that's what it says. Yeah.
What do you think constitutes an influencer? We had somebody on yesterday that said a lot of these people that have followers can't actually gather a crowd. And he said, if you can get 500 people to turn up to something within the hour, that's an influencer. What do you think?
Yeah, but that's really hard because like, not many people can do that. I think you're an influencer if you can actually convince a company to give you money for promoting something. I think, yeah, probably, because then even though that's probably just 3 people in an office, they've somehow decided that what you have has some value. I don't know how they work that out, but yeah, then you're an influencer. If you're selling, what is it? Who sponsors everything? Like, I don't know, Squarespace. Squarespace are giving out money like Air Up, giving out money like
Manscaped.
Oh, Manscaped. They love giving out.
Yeah.
They've never reached out to me though. I will happily shave my balls for you guys.
Curtis can hook you up.
I will make it happen.
I have the perfect demographics for that. I'll tell you that.
I can't wait.
There are some hairy bollocks Rufus Rice followers out there who are in need of some trims.
Will this go on the OnlyFans or is this going straight on the feed?
We should send that clip to them.
The thing about the OnlyFans is like, I don't think there's any amount of money that makes it actually worth it for the loss of dignity. Like, I know those girls are making unreal sums, but that can't be worth it. I don't understand. You can't be worth it to be that girl forever, right?
Well, I feel like that tees up actually a question I had for a little bit later on. Beavo has obviously been quite a relevant topic on your channel.
Yeah,
as of late.
Mate, Beavo prints views, bro. You just mention him, people are interested.
Fantastic. Well, that's good to know.
What have you been saying about him?
Well,
sounds like you were defending him. What have you been saying about my Beavo?
My beaver.
Well, you know how he's sort of been on a tear recently, like going around shagging pretty much everyone who's up for it. There's actually, I will put out a warning to any other TikTokers listening to this. Make sure you check behind you because he might be sneaking up. You never know. But yeah, man, I love him. I feel like me and him are exactly the opposite people.
Yeah.
Like everything he does, I always look at it and go, well, I wouldn't have done that. Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect. Like everything from his fake chain to begging for money to those horrible teeth he has to like doing all that stuff with Bonnie Blue, I would do the exact opposite of that. So, but yeah, I complimented his penis on the internet, and then everyone was going, because I said he's actually got a decent chopper on him because I watched that video. And then everyone was like, Rufus must have a tiny, tiny dick. Which, yeah, fine. Yeah, probably.
Probably. Yet to find it.
But I was sort of working on expected chopper compared to actual chopper. So it was like sort of advanced.
Cole Palmer sort of numbers.
XC. Yeah. And so I think he has an impressive Corey on him. Beavo, if you're listening to this, congratulations, mate. But the rest of everything else you've done is utterly crap.
If you were Beavo for a day, what would you do?
Oh, that's
other
so
than admire yourself.
Give Bonnie Blue a little message.
Who else wants some? If I was Beavo for a day,
who would you teach the rules to?
Yeah, the rules are interesting because, like, what is the first rule of Fight Club? you know, like the first rule of Beavo Club
is knowing the rules.
Don't chew.
Is never chew before you swallow. In fairness, he didn't do that in that Bonnie Blue video either. Like the rules are consistent.
So hang on, is he actually like been with Bonnie Blue?
Have you not seen it?
No.
Oh, I'm not bringing it up.
It is some pretty horrifying footage. It reminds me a little bit of like watching Two Girls, One Cup for the first time. Like for the next 3 days, every time you close your eyes, you can just see it. But yeah, no. And Luke Bennett obviously has he's had the Python as well.
Python.
What, them two?
They've collaborated. I haven't seen.
It can't be worth it. Luke Bennett's Instagram post about it, when I saw it, it had 75 likes. Like that cannot be worth 75 likes.
And I was 74 of them.
How much money do you think like Bonnie Blue and Lily Phillips are making to be doing what they're doing?
Well, I know Lily Phillips is making some unreal amount, like £1 million a month or something. But like that doesn't matter, surely, right?
No.
I know some people are more financially motivated than I am, but even so, it's like that age-old question: would you rather shag the goat and nobody knows, or you don't shag the goat, but everybody thinks you did, and that hangs over you for the rest of your life? Like, I think ruining your if it's me, that goat is getting ploughed. I'm not even thinking about it, right? Because I can't live with the reputation hanging over my head for the rest of my life. It's the same with the OnlyFans thing. As soon as you make the account, the reputation hangs over you and it's not worth anything. You might as well just plough the goat.
Might as well plough Beavo.
Okay.
Anyway.
if that's what you want to do, Curtis. That's what you wanna do.
Have we established what you would do in your day as Beavo? Beavo then.
I would probably... I don't know. I don't want to be too mean to him.
Okay, fair.
But
who would you like to see him collaborate with next?
Him or
Beavo. Who would you like to see Beavo collaborate with next?
that's a great question. You know the General?
yeah.
General G. I'd love to see that. Maybe in a Lambo.
Wow.
Who do you want to collab with? Not on OnlyFans. Just
Not about this.
like if you could do a YouTube adventure with like 3 people, who are you picking?
That's great. That's like the three dinner party people. You know who I would love?
Beavo.
Mashtag's definitely going to be there. Isn't it?
No, not Mash. I'd take. This is going to probably a terrible answer. Me and 3 people on an adventure. I'd take Clarkson, Hammond, and May, mate. I'd take the Top Gear trio, and we'd go. I don't know, drive around the wilderness somewhere. That would be great. I know those guys are kind of getting on a bit now, but maybe I can inject a bit of energy into that.
Yeah. Are we talking BBC era? Or
Yeah, we're talking prime Top Gear. I think when they went to the Grand Tour, the budget was too big for them. Now, like, it's good having budget restrictions sometimes because what you want to see them is going around some strange place in 3 absolutely crap cars. Where the cars got too good on the Grand Tour. Yeah.
Do you think comedy has gone too soft?
No. Like, I think there was a peak softness in comedy. 2017, 2018 or something, especially in stand-up comedy and stuff, where like everyone was very PC and mean about it. But the thing is people would say that my comedy tends towards the edgy side, right? But I've never got in trouble for anything I've said, ever. There's never been anything where people have been like, well, that's really unacceptable and I've been like cancelled or whatever. Like, I think this is just a very small amount of people with very strong opinions speaking very loudly, but everyone else actually likes it. And you can do, I don't think comedy is actually that soft at all. Especially like, I don't really like this brand of comedy, but those big like American comedians who basically just do like like various impressions of various dictators and stuff. Yeah, I don't think it's too soft. I actually think it's in a perfectly good place.
Do you think you could do stand-up?
I could, but I've never wanted to. I think yeah, but it's one of those things where you just if you never dreamed about doing it, why would I do it? I always just wanted to be a musician. Really, I still don't really want to do any comedy at all. But but I don't really want to. So there we go.
And you mentioned before you started growing this following at university. When was there a moment where you thought, you know what, I've cracked this, I've made it? Yeah.
It was so a lot of influencers will go on things and say, well, I never expected it to blow up, I never thought. But the thing is, I grew up watching people blow up on social media for uploading stuff. So I just started posting on TikTok and I just posted every day for a month. And then after a while, I had one hit 100K. And then I was like, well, this is the start here. I basically made it already.
Yeah.
Maybe that was too optimistic, but that's how I felt. I've always backed the stuff I do because I think if you don't back it, it's hard to get other people to back it if you don't believe it's great. And I thought the stuff I was doing was great. So yeah, I never doubted it for a second.
Are you interested in the numbers side of it, like the analytics, the algorithms?
I try not to care, but yeah, of course I care.
Yeah.
But I used to get more upset about it. Like if I made a video and I thought, well, that's a banger, people are going to absolutely love that, and it didn't do as well as I expected, it would upset me. But now, so no, I think that happens enough times. You just sort of get used to it.
Would you ever delete that content and try again?
Hell yeah. On TikTok especially, like because it's so random. You can never tell how good something's going to do. So if I've made something and I'm like, well, that's quality, but it didn't do that well, I have just re-uploaded it a couple of days later and then it does better.
Yeah.
But
Would you change anything or literally?
no, I literally just take it back down and put it back up.
Why do you think that is? Like,
I don't know. You have to ask those coders in the Chinese government how that algorithm works. I've been doing it for years and I still have no clue.
yeah, I have been asking.
Yeah.
They won't tell me. Brands, you mentioned a little bit about, obviously, Manscaped, etc. What brand work have you done? Have you worked with
Yeah, so I don't do a lot. I think there's quite an unfair narrative around me that I'm not brand friendly.
Okay.
So I haven't worked with loads and loads of brands. I've done stuff with I worked with Deliveroo before. Those guys are great. I met the CEO, really cool guy. He loves my stuff. So he's awesome.
I love their stuff. Great work.
So I worked with them. I worked with Persil once, became the face of detergent briefly, which is funny. And then
Real rock star.
Worked for Amazon and stuff. But I don't do nearly as much brand stuff as most of the people because I think I'm perceived as being brand unfriendly. And what I got to say to those people at the brands is I can I've got the perfect demographic for you boys. Honestly, young men, hard to advertise to, and I have them in spades. And also, I understand that, when brands work with stuff, like I work with Amazon for those, those shops you can just walk out of that they came out with for those. And they were like, well, you can't say shaggers, which was my main thing at the time. I was like, okay, yeah, but I'm happy to work within those limits. And I understand when you're making something in collaboration with someone or when you come on somebody else's show or anything like that, like on your own stuff, you can say what you like. It's okay. People are there to watch that. But when you go on other people's stuff or you collaborate and stuff, I totally understand that it has to be watered down because people outside the sphere are going to see it. I totally understand that. So if you're a brand person, I know. Okay, we can make something that's nice and wholesome. We can do it. And I've never had any controversy surrounding me. I promise you.
Have you got a manager or agent?
I used to, but I fired them. Just because I felt like they weren't I felt like I could do their job and they took a cut. So why would I have them? And I would never work with one on an exclusive basis anymore.
Why is that?
Well, I hate having to run everything by a manager or an agent or something. But I don't mind working on a one-time thing. But when you have to, like, I had one, and then every sort of podcast I had to go on, I had to watch it first, and all this sort of stuff. And I don't operate well like that. Yeah.
I think that may be an issue with who you're working with, because I think that there are very effective ways to work with management without it
Do you think?
getting in your way.
I haven't experienced it personally, but I've only been doing it for 3 years. So.
Top 3 brands you'd want to work with. You can look down the barrel of the camera and tell them.
We'll send this directly to them.
Send it directly to them.
Yeah.
Who gives out money? Is this like, am I shooting for the moon or are we being realistic?
Whatever you want. This is your time to shine.
Because
Stars.
I'm a sunglasses enjoyer. Yeah, I'm a Ray-Ban enjoyer. Those guys. I actually wear your stuff in almost every video. I'm never without the pair of Ray-Bans. So if you guys, a Ray-Bans X Rufus Rice official glass would be the dream. But if we're being, realistic, I'd love to work with, Red Bull do those events that's like weird sports, like paper airplane throwing competitions and like cliff diving and stuff.
Yeah.
I'd love to work on those and commentate on those. I used to do a series where I commentated on the Formula One races, alternative commentary, but Formula One are very sort of protective about their intellectual property, so that stuff got taken down. But I'd love to, the soapbox race, all that sort of stuff, I'd love to work with those guys. And another idea I have is, I make those parody songs. If you're a company out there, I'm happy to make you a parody song. I had an idea, M&S, if you're listening, S&M by Rihanna? I think there could be some great scope for an M&S parody of S&M. So hit me up. I also love your food hall.
Nice.
Cheers to that. So I feel like it's a good set. The Red Bull, I want to go back to that. What would be the sport, if you had to invent a sport that you would be commentating over?
If I had to invent a sport?
Yeah.
Okay, I've always thought, like, extreme catch is an awesome sport.
Right.
Like, it's like someone like base jumping, but like, they throw the ball out of the plane, and then the guy jumps out, and you've got to catch it in midair or something like that. Or like cliff jumping, but you've got to catch a ball on the way down or something. Extreme catch, I think there's great scope for that. Like, yeah.
How do you think you'd get on if you had to take part?
Oh, I have to do it.
Well, sure.
That kind of stuff really.
Got to earn your bread here.
That kind of stuff really scares me. Like, if we've got to catch a nerf while I'm paragliding, I'm gonna be worried about that.
Where's the roguest place you've ever been recognised? And what did you do?
In the sauna, in the gym, in a hotel, in Amsterdam. And that's a bad place to get recognised. So, because you go in there to relax. Yeah. And then I walked in there and this other guy was sitting in the sauna and he goes, no way. Like, this is the worst. And then he wanted a photo and like, you're sweaty, I'm sweaty. It's pretty disgusting. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Interesting.
Was there ever a moment where you met somebody and you wished you just never done anything?
Or have you ever done it where like someone recognised you and go, no, that's not me?
I try, but as soon as I open my mouth, like my voice is so recognisable that I really had pretended to be other people, but I can't. It's not possible. I think the only time I ever really hate to be recognised, because most people are very polite and very kind, but you do get the occasional person. Like, I was out in a town once with this girl. He's just a friend of mine or anything, and this guy was just like Firstly, he came up to me and said hi. Then he was like, "Oh, is this your conquest for the day?" And I was like, "That is so rude. That is so rude and weird." And then afterwards, he sent her a picture of a hot dog covered in jizz on Instagram. So
I'm not pulling that one up either. But wow,
wow. Different type of question entirely. What's the biggest lesson you've learned about yourself this year? Well, last year, because it's only
lesson.
Yeah.
This isn't really about me, but I did learn that a credit card still works if you put it through a washing machine.
Nice.
I don't know. I'm not a very sort of reflective and introspective person.
Okay, biggest lesson you've not learned in the last year. What do you keep doing?
I don't really go clubbing anymore, which is good because I started to regret it so much. Nothing good happens past 1:30 in the morning. So if it gets to that time, just leave. Also, don't go to prison is the other lesson I learned.
Have you ever posted something and pretty quickly after thought, I shouldn't have done that?
Oh, I literally thought you were talking about like the mail there for a second.
This is going to take far too long to arrive.
Yeah, I made a song. I regretfully made a song about Madeleine McCann once, which was in poor taste, so I took it down. But that's okay. We make those errors.
How quickly did you take it down?
4 hours. It's definitely still floating.
Everyone's seen it.
It's definitely still floating around on the. Yeah, it got 500,000 views in that time.
Wow.
Yeah, it's definitely still floating around on the internet, but it's not something I'm particularly proud of.
But what is the one thing you're most proud of producing?
I would say my best work. I change this answer every time when people ask me. It's definitely those songs that I make. Those are the things I'm most proud of because I think they require like the most sort of, actual comedic insight.
Talent. Raw talent.
Raw, unadulterated talent. I would say probably that Halo parody I made about breaking up with your ex-girlfriend and then she starts an OnlyFans is up there for me. Yeah, that's a good one. Proud of that.
What's the weirdest DM you ever had?
Oh, I get a lot, as you might imagine. This guy, he got a tattoo. Actually, no, that's not the weirdest one. But he got a tattoo of Hello Shaggers Marbella 2023 on his leg. He sent that to me. That's not the weirdest, though. I made a real mistake on my podcast we ask the audience for submissions to our questions. and I made the mistake of coming up with one of the questions we did was, "What's your worst injury?" And this guy literally sent me a picture of his snapped banjo string. So that was one of the roughest DMs I've ever had.
Jeez, that is chaos.
Did it see the light of day? Did that picture get?
No.
But
I had to see it.
How is the podcast going?
Yeah, it's going great. It started out because I got a co-host, Aidan, who works at the Fellas, and I'd never met him. I met him once before we started filming, and we're meant to be a comedy partnership. So we didn't know how it was going to go. And he flubbed his first line 3 times. He had one line in the script, and he flubbed it 3 times. So I was like, could be in for a long time. Yeah. But then he nailed it. And then since then, it's just been going from strength to strength. We've added loads of guests. We've got a wide array of guests on now. So it's really growing. I'm really happy with it, because I thought at the beginning, like, what if we don't hit the ground running? What if it isn't funny? What if it just is shit? That is one of my main worries about anything I make. Like, what if it just is shit? But then I realized, I look at content other people make, and it's so dog shit. I look at my worst stuff, and I'm like, well, this is better than that.
Yeah.
'Cause some people make some real crap, and I can't believe people watch it, you know. But
who came up with the concept for the podcast?
me. So I really like, one of my favorite TV shows is Mad Men, which is, have you guys seen that?
Yeah,
Great show.
Yeah, 1960s advertising execs in New York City, basically. And I was like, I wish I could have been around in that time. I can't, but we're going to replicate it the best we can. So it's a 60s themed studio, and we're throwing it back to the glory days, you know, long lunches where you have about 4 cocktails in the middle of the day, smoking indoors, cheating on your wife who lives in the suburbs with your mistress in town, you know, all that sort of business. I'm sort of essentially trying to recapture that essence with our show.
Days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As are many in London right now.
Yeah.
Interestingly. So, best guest you've had on so far? Who surprised you? Who's been the most interesting?
We had Tom Garrett on, and he was just the perfect sort of banter fit for the show, because he came on, and like, Tom Garrett is a sort of football guy mostly, but the biggest hit of his career was undoubtedly the video that got leaked of him wanking his mate off in Tenerife. And so we basically...
Would you rather wank your mate off in Tenerife and nobody know, or not do it and everybody think you did?
Oh, he's getting tugged. People accuse me of doing stuff like that at school, but nothing gay happened at boarding school, I promise. But he basically came on and we did an hour of material about that, which was some of the most fun I've ever had. Yeah, so that was great.
Love that.
Love it. Talking of interesting material,
Yeah,
your cameo. So you do cameo,
yeah.
right? What sort of like requests do you get? Do you get some really ropey ones?
I get some I had to decline. I remember in it one that this guy asked me to record a TV show pitch for him, which, so I'm already questioning this, because it's not a birthday or a Christmas.
Could be
And his idea for a TV show was genuinely one of the most awful things I've ever heard. Is basically this thing called, his show was called Gay for Pay, right?
Beavo submit this.
we don't know. And it was basically, he finds really sort of homophobic people, and then in some kind of weird auction bidding war, he like continually ups the prize money until they agree to do the gay stuff.
It sounds like a passion project more than anything.
Yeah, this guy was invested. There was like 4 paragraphs about this, and then at the end he put the phrase, I'll never forget this. And then afterwards, there's a post-show interview where they still have the jizz on their face. I was like, I just can't record that. I'm sorry. So that's probably one of the
What was your role
worst.
to be in this? Just like,
But he wanted me
send it
to
execs?
record the pitch. So he wanted me to read out the text for some reason.
Right. So you were not going to be contestant number 1.
How much do you charge for that?
Oh, they're so expensive. I absolutely rip people off. They are, yeah. The thing is, Cameo takes 25%. It's a lot, isn't it? They're absolutely rinsing. They must have been made millions off of Jay from the In-Betweeners.
Yeah.
I think they're 30-something quid. It's a lot, but whatever. If people are willing to pay it,
That's it.
it's a free market. You don't have to buy it.
Yeah. For how long does 30 quid get you?
A minute and a half, but it is a minute and a half of absolute gold. I must say, that is a quality minute and a half.
Do you script it or is it all just off the cuff?
No, I don't script it. But I've done so many now. I think I checked the stats the other day. I've done like more than 2,000 cameos or something. So like,
Do the quick maths of the money.
Yeah, 45k take home.
So yeah, I just sort of, I've done all the genres now. I've done the Christmas, I've done the Valentines, I've done the stag do, I've done all of that. So I know the sort of things you've got to say.
Yeah.
I feel like we should have come prepped with a request for you just to see what you pulled out. But could have been a good marketing tool. Get some sales. What are your, let's just go with your number one most misunderstood historical figure?
Most misunderstood?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's a great question. I love this sort of stuff.
I think you are allowed a minute to think about this one because you have to tread quite carefully.
People really misunderstand the old Greek philosophers. Aristotle, Socrates, Plato, the big guys. These guys in Athens at the time, it's only because we look back, like things are always better when you look back than they were at the time. It's rosy tinted glasses, It's nostalgia merchants bigging these guys up. Those guys are basically the equivalent of that homeless man who hangs around the Sainsbury's near where you live, begging for people to buy him cider, right? Except those guys managed to attract, 2 people to listen to them and write it down on some stone tablet somewhere. And now, over time, those ideas are ground importance. But those people who like just regularly do heroin, like that's a good lifestyle choice. And then they're like, well, what even is the world? Why wouldn't you just do heroin? Heroin is a job, and if we were all just here, are we even really here? That's basically the equivalent of that, except those guys, heroin hadn't really been invented yet. So those guys were sort of doing hemlock and stuff. And over time, those ideas, then I don't think they're geniuses in the way people big them up. Like I studied philosophy at school, and people are bigging them up as like some of the greatest thinkers ever. But if you actually boil down the ideas, like a lot of Aristotle's ideas are basically a square on Earth can never be a perfect square because down at the atomic level, it's not an exact square. That's one of his main ideas. And the idea of a square, the only perfect square is the idea of a square, because you can never build an actually perfect square down to the atoms. Is one of his main things. It's like, yeah, obviously.
Have you ever been intrigued by heroin?
Nah.
Not where I thought.
No, that's up there with, sort of. It's in that sort of incest bracket as the things like people say, don't they? Try everything once. You never know, you might like it. But there are some things where you really don't have to do that. Actually, that is probably a bad idea. Like the Habsburgs, the dynasty, they tried incest, and then they all ended up with severe physical disabilities.
So just to clarify, no to heroin.
No. Not yet.
Do you think the influencer industry is full of genuine people, or do you think it's full of friendships that are based on clout?
I think like everywhere. It reminds me a little bit of school, really. I went to a school where with a lot of sort of rich Indian kids at it, who were throwing around money for clout. I think there's the same sort of thing. Like I went to school, like I had genuine friends, but there wasn't also like an existing social structure which was weird with like popular people. It's like it is a little bit like that. But like everywhere, there are some genuine friends. There are some people who probably aren't, and there are some absolute dicks that you have to avoid, just like school. But I have to say, I do absolutely despise going to those influencer events, just because, like, I don't know, I'd just much rather hang out with my actual friends who are still at university now, so I don't really see them all that often. But I'd just much rather do that than kind of pretend to be friends with everybody there. And also, a lot of Love Islanders are quite. I don't want to be too rude. Brain dead. So like trying to carry conversations with those kind of people when the only topics of conversation they have are like the gym and who's fit and the season of whatever show they were on. That's quite tough. Like I can never be genuine friends with those people just because we're so different.
Who are your influencer friends?
Well, obviously the Brighton Wolfpack, the TikToker Wolfpack, I'd say. There were a group of us. They're briefly brainstorming a group YouTube channel as well, which I absolutely did not want to be a part of. But, you know, it's like Sam Sings, Tommy Solom, James Foreman, Jack Joseph, Harry C and Harry K. All those boys are sort of influencer friends. But I don't have many. Just because, like, I don't see any reason to be friends with people just because they have the same job as you, if you know what I mean. You know, I have influencer friends, but no more than other kinds of friends.
It sounds like you're really trying to convince us that you've got friends here.
Yeah.
But
Kanye tweeted once, "I have 8 friends," and that I really resonate with that. I think that's the nice amount of friends.
Have you ever had any beef with any influencers?
Nah, just because I don't care. Or creating drama for the sake of creating drama. I just want to make fun videos, man. Yeah, no, I don't have any beef.
Who's the most famous person that follows you or has commented on your stuff? Or been in your DMs?
Lewis Capaldi.
That's pretty good.
Good one. It's a strong
I found out he followed me because I was scrolling on TikTok and one of his TikToks came up and it said friends above his name.
Brilliant.
It's got that little box and it says friends. And I was like, oh shit. I've never spoken to him though. But I think he's a cool guy.
Nice.
What would you do if you could film a video with him? What would be the concept?
Surely musical.
Yeah, me and Capaldi making those making a song in an hour videos. I reckon me and Capaldi could bang out a classic.
Love
Got to
it.
be a brand to get behind that.
Yeah. Well, 10 million quid then is going into your bank account to make a show of your choosing. What would you do? TV, it can be digital. What would the 10 mil be spent on?
How much of it do I have to spend on the show?
Every penny.
So I can't just like siphon off a bit for me and then have a show that costs about 10 quid.
We'll let you keep 2%.
Oh, great. I'm looking forward to that 20 grand.
And any revenue earned from the show.
Yeah, cool.
So make it a good one.
I did have an idea for a show once where it's basically like one of those searching shows. It's probably a terrible idea. And probably somebody has definitely done it already. Whereas Rufus Rice's Party Planet, where I basically travel to different countries and go to the best party. So like in China, it's like that Chinese New Year thing with all the drums and the crazy dragon and all that sort of shit. You got Carnival in Rio, full moon party out in Thailand, Oktoberfest thing in Germany. Like you can make an episode for basically every country. You go out to Africa. I don't even know what they're celebrating out there, but like that is a thing about the human race. Everywhere you go, people love to party, and that I completely commit to the local custom. Like traditional dress is on. I'm eating all the same stuff they're eating, even if it's really weird. You know, we could go out to the jungle somewhere in the Amazon. Yep. I'm partying with the tribes. Whatever they get up to, I don't know. But I guess I experienced that for the first time on the show. I think that would be a cool idea for a show.
I want to watch that.
Yeah. Get involved. If you had to create a religion based on one food item,
okay,
what would it be?
Where do you get these questions?
Some of them from Bart, our producer. And we don't know what he takes to come up with them. But
right, because I think that's such a stupid question. I'm sorry. sorry to say.
Bart.
But like that is the sort of question that people who get upset about pineapple on pizza ask. If you know what I mean. Like it matters. Around one food item.
Just wait to hear the next question.
Is there another?
Great.
Is there another question? Okay.
I would create the Mars bar mafia. Yeah. I think Mars bars are criminally underrated because people think they're stodgy, I think.
Right.
But sometimes you need a bit of stodge.
Sure.
In your life. And
you know the rules.
Our ops would be the double-decker
right.
the double-decker wolf pack. Because fuck double-deckers, they're awful.
Quite like a double-decker. Decker. I think Mars bars are shit.
Yeah, well, there we go.
It's episode 1. Okay, we're really going to follow it up with a strong one here. You have to be a fruit for 24 hours.
Yeah.
What fruit would you be, and what would be your strategy to not get eaten? I just want to see you deal with this.
I like the idea that a fruit can have a strategy.
You're a banana, like that's all they do. They don't want to.
I think most people would
Shall
pick
not.
banana, wouldn't they?
Phallic.
What, pick it to actually eat it?
To be the banana.
Yeah.
Because people are boring. And you automatically you think banana because that's funny, right? Now, I got to be one of those weird fruits, like a sort of, like a jackfruit. Have you ever had one of those?
Yeah.
Those.
Yeah. You give pomegranate energy.
Thanks, mate.
Oh my God.
I don't really know what that means.
It's a compliment, I think.
Yeah. What's some of those horrible poisonous fruits that only birds eat? I'll be one of those.
Durian's the one that's
Stinky.
Absolutely
Yeah.
reeks.
Yeah. I haven't got any more questions. Bart, have you got a question? Your
Yeah.
Producer Bart.
So I recently went on a mindfulness trip to Bucharest, Romania, and I've picked up some local currency, and I've got one here for you.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you. Here you go.
Yeah.
So, with the money in your hand, how many strippers do you think you could get with that in Bucharest?
Okay. Well, I've got to sort of use my. I haven't been to a strip club in Romania before, but I did go to one in the Czech Republic, so I can only assume it's sort of about the same price. I don't really know how much this is worth.
Oh, you got to figure it out.
I'd be surprised if you could get one. But the way you set up the question makes me think that it is more than one.
I don't think you can get half either.
Well, okay, all right. I'll just say 4. Why not?
4.
Yeah.
So what you're holding on your hand right now is
It's probably worth like 1.1p.
17 pence.
17 pence. Okay. Well, what do you get? A swift handshake for that?
Yeah, fully clothed stripper walking
Yeah.
past you in a bar.
Right.
asking
Very
for a
good
dance.
stripper if they're fully clothed.
Oh, well, that's whole other conversation. If we're getting into that. Yeah. I do have one other question, actually.
Go on.
Yeah, go on.
Is it as good as that one?
It's even
Yeah,
better.
that was a classic.
It's even better. Fight to the death. What size animal do you think you could fight to the death with?
Like the biggest animal.
Technically, you could fight to the death with any animal.
Someone's gonna die.
One where
What's
he
the
wins.
limit? Where do you think you
Do I get a gun?
No.
Okay.
bare hands?
I'm
Not
not.
be cheating if you've got bare hands.
Oh, that's smelly. That is an awful joke.
I don't know. I'm not a very aggressive person. That's why, like, occasionally I've been challenged to those boxing matches, or companies have reached out being like, "You want to get involved in this?"
Please fight Beavo.
Absolutely could not. No, the thing is, he'll probably beat me just because I feel like he really cares.
Knows the rules.
Yeah, he does know the rules. He'd teach me the rules. So I'd probably lose. I'm not very naturally athletic anyway. So yeah, I would absolutely not do that. I think people always overestimate their abilities and pick something. Like even a badger, I think might beat me. I think I've got to go with something where I definitely win, and pick like a little dog.
Like a chihuahua?
Yeah, like a little chihuahua.
Fair
I'd
enough.
dust him off as well. No mercy.
Yep.
Final question for the podcast.
Right.
Who should we get on next?
Okay.
Who do you think would be a good guest?
It's hard, you know. It's a little bit. This is a little bit like going to an Italian restaurant and trying not to order a carbonara. Like the temptation to say Beavo is just so big. But I want to. There's been a lot of Beavo chat, so I want to provide a sort of backup.
Would you like to come back in if we get him on?
Yeah, I would absolutely come.
You can sit in the producer's seat. Sorry about.
back.
Or an earpiece. That would be fantastic.
Or just opposite
like
each other.
I would love to come back on. I've never met him. And you know, it is a bucket list item. But yeah, I'd love him to come on. I really would.
Fantastic.
I'm not sure how much you get out of him. He'd have trouble with some of those questions.
Yeah. Well, as long as he stays fully clothed, I think it'll be good.
I'll be naked.
And that is fine. I do actually have one final question.
Yeah, go on.
Is your name actually Rufus Rice?
Yeah, I get ID'd like by random people. They're like, "Come on," and I have to like,
And you show them.
get my passport out and stuff. No, yeah, it is my name. A lot of people think it's a stage name, like sort of Freddie Mercury. No, it's not. That is just my name. Yeah.
Incredible name.
Yeah. Well, Rufus Rice, thank you very much for coming on the show, mate. It's been great fun. Is there anything you want to shout out or?
Yes, I'd like to shout out Just Stop Oil. All of the money I make on my various social media platforms gets donated straight to them so they can hold up more people in traffic and ruin more sporting events. So shout out to those guys. And also check me out on all the platforms. I've got 3 TikTok accounts, a podcast, an Instagram account, and a YouTube page. I do a lot, you know. So check it out. I just recently went to Egypt. That vlog is coming out and it's an absolute certified classic. It's a certified Sinai Peninsula classic, so you'll love that one. Rufus Rice on everywhere. I'm the second biggest.
Rufus, come on, mate.
I'm the second biggest Rufus on TikTok after that dog. So
interestingly, all the revenue generated from this podcast will be going to oil. So we will be starting oil as much as we can. So.
yeah, brilliant.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for coming on.
Nice
No
one.
worries, chaps. Thanks so much.
Rufus.